Hi everyone, welcome back to part 4 of my anxiety story series. This will be the last video of the series, so if you've missed any of them, I'm not sure what I'm talking about, the rest of the videos are on my channel, so you can check those out. Today I'll be chatting a bit about what came after uni up until now. Excuse me if I'm just looking down a little bit, I've got my notes in front of me, so just trying not to waffle on for too long. So to start off, my biggest dream was always to find a husband, get married, have kids, and then be stay-at-home mom. So going to university, like to try and find a career direction was a little bit difficult because it had never been my dream to have a career. So it was December 2020. It was my final year of my undergrad, and COVID had just hit. It had hit already 2019, right? So yeah, we were in lockdown, and I was spending a bit of time at home. I was getting bored, and was spending time on the dating apps. So yeah, always be careful when you're on dating apps. I went on 2 dates. They both turned out to be duds. And the one guy literally, like, we were walking along the road and he barked at a dog that he saw. So yeah, just be careful. Anyway, when I was in university, I didn't really find anyone that fulfilled my list. But essentially, if people didn't tick my list, then I didn't spend time with them or pursuing a relationship with them because I didn't want to waste my time or their time. And I always knew exactly what I wanted. So on my list, I'll read it off, was a Christian who lives out their faith, taller than me, a strong leader, not thinner than me. I never wanted to feel like I'd break their legs if I sat on their lap. They needed to be physically attractive to me, kind and intelligent, and if they could make me laugh, then that would be a bonus. So that was what I was working with. I was almost giving up on the dating apps, and then one day on Hinge, this guy messaged me about one of my pictures, and he said, "Is that an ESV Bible I see in the background?" And I was like, oh my word, if this guy knows what an ESV study Bible is, then he's a legit Christian. So we ended up chatting, and he just made me laugh all the time. But he wasn't great on his phone, and he wasn't making plans. He was on holiday from a place from Joburg, 2 hours away, and I was about to go on holiday with my family. So I sent him a message. Looking back, it was a bit cringe, but I said to him, like, I'm a busy chickie. Are we going to make plans or not? Because otherwise, like, you're going to go home and I'm going to go away and we're not going to see each other. So yeah, the confidence you have when you're behind a screen. But anyway, so we made plans. I think he was a bit taken aback, but anyway, didn't scare him off. So we planned to meet for dinner or drinks at Tiger's Milk in Muizenberg. And I arrived like just before him. I was really nervous, like especially from like obviously for a date, but also in terms of anxiety, I often get really anxious in restaurants. So I was worried that I was going to have to like run out of our date, especially because Tiger's Milk's quite like busy and loud. So yeah, I was a little bit worried. But when he walked in, everything sort of changed. He was dressed like perfectly for what I like he was dressed like a rugby player. He was chilled. He was wearing slip slops, or in South Africa we call them blakkies, and he had a cap on, and I don't know, he just looked chilled and he looked friendly, and we gave each other a hug, and then he sat down and we literally just chatted. By the time we wanted to order food, the kitchen had already closed. So that was just showing like how easy it was to talk. Like, I think we both just felt like we could be ourselves. We had so much in common. Even our favorite movie, which at the time was both Pearl Harbor, which if you've watched Pearl Harbor, you'll know it's quite a niche movie to have as your favorite. But yeah, I went home that night and I said to my parents, like, I think I found my husband. And later on, I found out that he said the same to his parents, which I think they were a little bit like, this is not real. But hey ho, here we are today. Anyway, so we saw each other again the next day in a more casual setting. And he basically said, like, I know it's really early on, but I see something serious with you. Do you feel the same? And I said, yes, I do. And it seemed really silly to be talking about it like day 2 of knowing each other, but it just felt like meant to be. But at that stage, I said to him, I told him about my anxiety and mental health issues, like how it's affected me and how it could affect me going forward. And he was like, I said to him, like, if you aren't prepared for it or you don't want to put up with it, like, that's fine. Like, we can say goodbye now. But he was like, no, that's fine. I think looking back, he didn't really understand at that point how it could affect things and me and us. But he's been a trooper ever since, and he's learned so much about how to help me through things. So yeah, so after that, he asked his job if he could stay an extra 2 weeks in Cape Town, just work there from Cape Town. And we spent a lot of time together. Like, his granny lives 10 minutes away from my childhood home. So we were just spending as much time as possible. I would go chill on his bed while he was working. He would come over to my house and leave like just before the COVID curfew. So yeah, it was good times. The sort of turning point where things got properly serious was, I think it was like 2 weeks into knowing each other, and my family went camping and there was no cell phone reception, but we just missed each other so much. And so he ended up driving 4 hours just to come and spend like 1 or 2 nights there with us. And then he drove us back. Him and I, we had like a road trip back, which was also special. But on the camping trip, I knew that he was special because it's going to sound silly, but I hadn't shaved my legs because I was like, oh, there's not going to be anyone there who I'm worried about. And so when he arrived, I was like, oh, I need to shave my legs. And he said, why? Like, you're camping. And I think that just made me feel like, wow, I don't have to be high maintenance. Like, he'll just accept me the way I am. But I still wanted to shave my legs anyway. So I was shaving them outside with like a bucket and water. And I cut myself, and he immediately just like took my leg on his lap and took a tissue and started like dabbing the blood. I was like, who does this at 2 weeks of knowing each other? But yeah, I think that was just a case of me saying, this guy will always take care of me. And so I think it was either that night or a night after, we were in the caravan making coffee for everyone, and we said, I love you. And I think I was the one who said it first, but don't hold me to it. But yeah, that was, from then on, it was serious. I went back to university in person this time for my honors year, and he ended up moving with the same company, but just to the Cape Town branch. He moved into a flat just behind the place where I was living. So we saw each other every day for a year. Obviously, like, relationships aren't just easy all the time. We had ups and downs and we had fights, but we never ever spoke about breaking up. It was never mentioned, and I think we just always knew that we were committed to each other. So, December 2021, we had been discussing marriage and moving to a different country. It was always Marius, my husband's, big dream to get another passport. So we'd been looking at rings, and he'd ordered the one that I wanted. And so one day he suggested we go for a hike up Kutsenberg, which is like, it's like a big mountain in Stellenbosch that if you go to the university, it's kind of a rite of passage. So he's not really a hiker or a walker. So when he suggested it, I should have been suspicious, but I wasn't. I was like, yay, he's saying we should go for a walk. So we were walking, and halfway up, I found like a heart-shaped rock or stone. And I said to him, oh, wait, look at this. It's like our love, or whatever. So cringe, I know. And at that point, he was like, oh, my word, she knows. She suspects that I'm going to propose. but I didn't. But I said to him, I'm so tired, like it was hot. I said, we've done halfway, let's just turn around and we can go get some food. And he said, no, like we have to get to the top. So he kept encouraging me up. And then at the top of the mountain, he got on one knee and proposed to me. And yeah, looking back, it was like the perfect proposal, and also just such a reflection on what marriage means, like always pushing each other on through the challenges of life. So that was that. I said yes, woo, and then I started planning a wedding, which I planned in a month because not only were we moving, but my mom and dad were also moving to the UK, to London. So we had to sort of make sure everything was done so that when people's visas arrived, we could all leave. So yeah, planned the wedding. Everything was perfect. Marius cried like the whole time. I'm assuming tears, happy tears, but it was very special. I had two like not ideal moments where, yeah, the one was just poor self-esteem when I was all made up, hair done, makeup done. I just didn't feel like myself and I started crying and felt that I looked ugly, but I soon pulled myself together. We went to it was on a wine farm with a chapel. And the second not so nice part was during the ceremony, I hate being in front of people and we stood the whole time. And I literally felt like I was going to faint. Even though it's like people that I know and love, it was really hot, I was anxious. And so the whole time I was just like holding on to Marius and like trying to do deep breathing while taking in the preach that the pastor was doing. My feet were also like slipping through my shoes. They didn't fit me well. So they were sore. And yeah, anyway, after that, we said yes. We said I do's. And then we just had fun with our friends and family. And yeah, it was just so special to finally be married to my best friend. We had a 3-day honeymoon, short and sweet. And then we started preparing for the move. So the first few months of marriage were really tough. Like I think because we were also in this in-between state where we knew we weren't staying in South Africa. We knew we were moving to London, but we didn't know when, and we didn't know what like the salary would be. I couldn't get a full-time job because I didn't know when we were leaving. So yeah, I think also just the whole thing of leaving your parents' house, starting a new home, that just the two of you. We had quite a few rough times, and my mental health really took a dip with being unsettled. So I was so anxious, so depressed, like crying all the time. This poor guy was like, what have I got myself into? But yeah, I ended up going back to my psychiatrist and she put me on like 4 different meds just to control the symptoms, which they were then roughly controlled. So by the time I got to the UK, I was kind of in a better space. But when I got to the NHS, they very soon took me off 2 of the medications. They were like, you can't be on 4, and 2 of these aren't even prescribed in the UK. So yeah, when I arrived here, I arrived a bit after Marius because his visa was ready before mine and he had to get started with work. But when I arrived, my mental health was pretty good. I think just to be settled, to know, even though this is a change, it's a change that's permanent for at least 5 to 7 years. So settled in, came off 2 of the medications. This was all mediated by the NHS, well, first a private psychiatrist because I was waiting for the NHS psychiatry. And then when they switched me over, I was very happy because you can't, if you have a private psychiatrist, you have to pay private prices for the meds. Whereas if you have an NHS psychiatrist, then you can get the like £9 prescription fee. But I soon found out that, bonus tip, if you are moving to the UK and you need medication, there's a prepayment certificate scheme. So if you have like 2 or more medications, it works out cheaper to do the prepayment where you basically pay a upfront amount for 3 3 months or 12 months, and then all your meds within that time are covered, your prescription meds. So yeah, say a money saving tip. Anyway, so moving on to work. When I got here, I took a few months just to get a job. I got a job as a product support specialist at a medical device company. So I was helping people with diabetes sensors and pumps, but I was basically just a call center agent. And as an introvert, being on the phone all day was tough. So I lasted there for about 6 months and then started looking for something else. The next job I took was as a health and well-being physiologist. So at first I thought, oh my word, I'm not going to be able to do this job, because during the interview I found out that I would have to take people's blood, and I have not had good experiences with blood in the past. Like having my own blood taken, I would usually faint. If I saw like a traumatic scene, saw blood, even saw someone else who had fainted, I would feel faint. So I was like, I'm not going to be able to do this job. But I ended up getting it, and yeah, managed. I just prayed. I was like, God, if you've given me this job, but I can't do it, then what's the point? And I ended up being fine, ended up becoming a really good, phlebotomist. So yeah, now it's a bit creepy when I see people's arms. I'm like, oh, that's a good vein, or that's not a good vein. But yeah, that job has been really good. I've been in it for just over 2 years. And yeah, I basically get to help people with their health, take their bloods, I do their blood pressure, ECG measurements. We talk about stress, we talk about diet and exercise. So yeah, it can be meaningful some days, it can be monotonous other days. But I haven't been working for the past 2 months or so, because I've been on early maternity leave. And yeah, we are expecting our first baby mid-September. Hoping he comes a little bit earlier, so who knows, maybe the next video won't have a bump. But yeah, we're really excited just to start this new phase together of parenthood. And in the next video that I make, I will be explaining like how I prepared for conception from a health and an anxiety point of view. But for now, that's everything. So I'll see if I can show you the bump. I don't think I've ever been this big, but say hello to baby Ludik, and hopefully next time I'll be holding him in my arms. But yeah, enjoy the rest of your week and take care, and I'll see you in the next video.